Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. My name is McKay Allen. I'm the Director of Content and Communications at Convirza. We're excited you're here today, and we're really excited to have Krista LaRiviere join us for today's presentation. She's the co-founder and CEO of gShift, which is an agency based outside of Toronto. So we're excited for her presentation. We'll turn it over to her in just a moment. First, a couple of quick house cleaning items. Who is Convirza and what the heck do we do? We used to be known as Log My Calls. We recently changed our name and our brand and our pretty much everything. So you may know us as that. We're now Convirza. And basically what we do is, you see on your screen here, we help you optimize calls like you currently optimize clicks. So we're a call marketing optimization company. That means we do three things. The first thing we do is attribution. We tell you which ads, campaigns, and keywords are generating calls. Second thing we do is analysis, so we help you pull deep analytics from phone calls because we analyze the calls with voice recognition technology. And then the third thing we do is we provide marketing automation for the phone calls. So specific actions that you can take based on the data. Things like changing bidding for an AdWords campaign automatically. Things like adding a lead to your CRM. Things like changing a structure within your reporting dashboard, all based on call data. So that's what we do. We host 2 or 3 webinars every single week with marketing experts from around North America, and Krista certainly fits that bill. We're excited to have her. For today's webinar, we encourage you to ask questions, number 1, in the little question bar at the bottom of your screen, and then also note that the webinar is being recorded, and that recording will be made available to you. You can see our past webinars and recordings at Convirza if you go right up here to Resources. At the top of your page there, you can see on my screen, and then click on Webinars once you're in Resources. You can see that the past webinars and future webinars are listed there. Now, in terms of the questions, let's just play a little game here. In the question area, please type in where you're calling in from today. I just want to get a sense of who's on the call and where you're located, so we can get to know each other a little better. I'm calling outside of Salt Lake City. That's where we're based, is in Salt Lake. Krista is, I assume, calling in from Toronto today, or outside of Toronto, where they are based. Looks like we got people from all over the place. We got, let's see, Greenville, North Carolina, Dallas, Toronto, Montreal, Lexington, South Carolina, Cincinnati, Pennsylvania, Manchester, New Hampshire, where I lived for a while, nice place, Las Vegas, Rockville, Maryland, all over the map. So that's exciting stuff. We're based all over. Wonderful. Well, thanks for being here, everybody. All right, now to introduce Krista. She, as I said, is a co-founder and CEO of gShift, and she's spoken about marketing all over the place. She's a noted expert in the space. She's received numerous awards, including one of Canada's top 10 young entrepreneurs. She holds degrees in economics, business administration, and applied information technology. That's fantastic. So, Krista, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to give you control of the screen at this point. And it's yours when you are ready. So thanks for joining us, Krista. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks for spending some time with us today. I appreciate that. And thanks for the introduction, McKay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, it looks great.
Excellent.
I don't know about that guy on the left there, but the rest of it looks fine.
Awesome. And so I'm sure that there's some folks on the call who know me, and I know you. So thanks for taking the time out of your busy day today. I know everybody has jam-packed schedules, and it was interesting to hear some of that bio that you had on me. I hadn't heard my university degrees listed in quite a while, so we forget about that stuff.
You got to remember that you've got them, Krista. That's important.
Exactly. And the funny thing is I think I use my university degrees every day because it's a good combination of business and economics and information technology. So I'm one of those rare people. You know, my co-founder went to university for biology and ended up founding a technology company, so it's sort of odd. Anyway, so just a little bit more about me, and then we'll dive right in. As McKay mentioned, my name's Krista. I'm the co-founder and CEO of gShift, and gShift is actually not an agency, but we are a software company, a technology company located just north of Toronto. We do business all over the world. I'm sure I have some clients on the call. The DNA of our company and of me is really all about data. I love data. SEO, content, social, really everything that we're talking about today is really what we're passionate about here at gShift, and it really stems from, a lot of the stuff stems from my brain. So I think that it's proven to be a good thing so far. I'm really passionate about the digital agents, or the digital space and the search space. In my spare time, I sit on the board of directors of SEMPO, Search Engine Marketing Professional Organization, the largest nonprofit organization for standardization of search marketing and digital marketing in the world, and I'm sure there's probably some members on. If you're not familiar with SEMPO, please find out more about it. It's definitely worth the membership, and membership is extremely inexpensive. So that's my little plug for SEMPO in the nonprofit work that I do for the industry. Let's just jump right in, and we have quite a bit of content to cover today, and if I can forward the slides, there we go. So today, as per the invitation that you received, we're going to talk about 4 main things here. I want to cover the importance of building content campaigns. That's the primary topic. We want to link that to really the impact of content on SEO and the importance of tracking online engagement metrics, and we'll go over how you actually do that. And then we're going to tie that all together with something that is important to Convirza, which is tracking the offline engagement metrics, the online engagement metrics to the offline engagement metrics, and hopefully that'll give you some insight into how to do that. I have a few housekeeping items of my own, and so we're going to try to keep this webinar to about 30 minutes. Throughout the webinar, we're going to conduct some polls, which we really hope that you participate in to give us some data, and we're going to publish those polls at the end in the Q&A session, and so you'll gain some insight into what other folks are doing or not doing, what the trends are. So I think that that's a good way to maintain some interactivity here. And we'd love for you to socialize. I know it's difficult to socialize and listen, but we hope that you do a little bit of it. And so there's a hashtag, and it's right at the bottom of the footer of my presentation here. The hashtag is content tracking, and the Twitter handles that you can use are gShift Labs, Krista LaRiviere, and Convirza. So we hope that you do that. So a little bit more about gShift, because it is relevant to this entire topic that we're talking about here today. And really will give you some insight into where this is all coming from. Is gShift really lives at this intersection of SEO, content marketing, and social. Everything that we do is about data and content, but ultimately impacts SEO and social. And so, you know, search engine optimization these days is really about brand discoverability by keyword and content. Social networks are now the distribution channels of brand content. And brands are demanding measured results of their investments into content creation, because everybody's doing content marketing these days. And they're looking for content level data across an entire web presence for decision making and reporting, or at least they should be. And so really what our software does is we help marketers create what we call smarter content through data-driven decisions, and that's really important. If you're not making your decisions based on data, if you're not making your digital decisions based on data, then you're probably not making the best decisions possible. And so we like to say that we enhance content discoverability in search and social, and then help our customers prove it. Okay, oh, my clicker, here we go. And who we do this for, about 75% of our clients consist of those digital agencies, and then the other 25% consists of in-house teams within brands. And we just collect all kinds of data about web presences that we're tracking, and we collect that data from the search engines, from social media. We also collect competitive intelligence, and we put those into our dashboards for ultimate decision making. And so enough about that, but that's a good segue into the rest of the webinar, which is, and let's tackle topic number 1, the importance of building content campaigns. And the importance of building content campaigns stems from an overall trend that has been developing over the past couple of years now, really, and is really starting to catch on, and that's the blurring of the lines and the collision of the 3 traditional pillars of digital marketing: the paid, the owned, and the earned. And so if you're not familiar with these, paid is really all about traditional ads, banner ads, PPC, all of that stuff. That's sort of the easy part about digital marketing. It's not easy, none of it's easy, but it's easy to measure. The owned and earned is where it gets a little trickier, right? So that's where you have your social media, your SEO, your content marketing, your email. But what's happening is that marketers have figured out, thanks a whole bunch to Google, to tell you the truth, that you can't really do any of these properly without a really strong content marketing strategy. And so right at the core of the 3 traditional pillars of digital marketing is content. And I thought I would share with you, and I hope you can identify with some of these Gartner digital marketing spend report items and some trends, and I hope you're included in some of these trends, which are really important. And that is that, you know, digital marketing budgets are indeed set to increase throughout 2015 by about 8%. So when you think about your budget and your customers' budgets, are they indeed increasing? Companies are spending, on average, about 10.2% of their overall revenue on marketing and 25% of that on digital marketing. And so I know when I think about gShift's marketing budget, it indeed falls within these trends, and so hopefully those are some good guidelines for you. And then as it relates to, you know, SEO and content, which is what we're talking about here today, I love these numbers. Forrester research reports that the U.S. SEO market will be worth $4 billion by 2019. So it's on a steady increase over the years. So SEO, you hear sometimes that, you know, SEO is dead, and it really just is not true. And then Content Marketing Institute, they put out all kinds of data, and they use the figure of $44 billion, which is what they say the content marketing sector is worth, and that's just a giant, giant number. But what I don't see yet is these industry analysts coming together to give us an idea of exactly how the dollars are overlapping, and I think you will see that in the upcoming years. And so content marketing, since it's so important, what I think we often forget is to actually think about it from a customer perspective. And I know we all know that we need to do content marketing, we need to do more of it, we need to do smarter content marketing, but what really is it that I need to do? And I had this problem, and we live and breathe this stuff here at gShift, right? And so when I think about it from a customer perspective, I know that the customer, and I am a customer of gShift, I need to be informed about what content to create. I need to know where to distribute my content. I need to know how to monitor my content, and I need to know how to measure the outcome of my content. And so what we like to say here at gShift is that our technology and our platform really helps to accelerate, improve the outcome of the content marketing investment. And so we have the data to properly inform you, or to better inform you, to make the smarter content, not just more content, to distribute it into the search engines and social networks, and to get smarter about that so that it can be discovered better, to help you monitor it every single day, and to help you automatically report on it so you're not wasting resources, time and money, doing all kinds of reporting. So the automation of the reporting is really important. And so this is what we call the content marketing process for the modern marketer, where it's this ongoing process. It's not just a linear thing anymore. It's ongoing. And so when you get to the end of the cycle, you're simply optimizing over and over and over again. And it may almost seem like a bad dream, but it's really not. It can really pay off. And so then, for those of you who know me on the call, I like to come up with definitions. I like to really question what a term means. And this webinar actually made me think about, well, what is a content campaign? And does anybody have a true definition of it? I know I talk about content campaigns a lot, but let's put it into words, right? And so I indeed did that. And so this is gShift's sort of stake in the ground to say, well, what is a content campaign? We can't talk about the importance of it if we don't actually know what it is. And so the official definition, according to gShift, and it's quite lengthy, but I think you'll enjoy it, is that a content campaign is a collection of multiple types of content optimized for specific keywords the intended audience identifies with. The content in a campaign is logically connected and strategically distributed to multiple channels over a defined period of time. The intent is to drive the audience through the sales funnel to conversion. The benefit is a content-centric approach, an enhanced digital footprint, and target audience engagement. And the desired outcome is to understand audience behavior and channel effectiveness through data analysis. And we worked really hard at this definition over the past couple of weeks, and we got it tweaked to what it is today. It'll probably change as I decide that we can improve this or that. That's really what a campaign is, and the highlights are, yeah, a collection of multiple types of content optimized for keywords to drive through the sales funnel at this content-centric approach to enhance your digital footprint, get your target audience to your web presence, and to understand behavior, channel effectiveness, again, through that data. So this is really, really important, especially since it's what we're talking about today. And so that's great, but what really does it look like? And so here's an example, and it's a new image that we've been working on and we'll continue to tweak. So this is an example, all in one picture, of an actual campaign, an actual content campaign that gShift ran for a period of time around the keyword phrase SEO reporting. And so you'll recognize in the middle the sales funnel, because this is ultimately about building awareness, getting your target audience to your web presence, and then getting them to full sales conversion. That's ultimately what this is about. But where I think the opportunity is in the content campaign process is to give more thought to keywords through the sales funnel and pegging keywords to specific stages of the sales funnel, and to almost drag that prospect through the sales funnel by anticipating what it is they're identifying with. And so how we started this campaign is with the keyword phrase SEO reporting, because that's what our target audience identifies with. We know that they care about it, but we also know that they care about other things once they understand that there are sort of subcategories of SEO reporting. And so over on the right, you'll see all the keyword phrases, and they become a longer tail and more informed as that prospect progresses through the buying cycle. And so we use all of these keywords in the content campaign. Over on the right-hand side, you'll see the types of content that we created. And so then this speaks to the collection of content that's been optimized for the keywords. And so we have multiple types of content. We have blogs that we were using to build awareness of the problem. We created webinars. We also did polls. We created downloads. We have a guide. And ultimately, to bring that prospect through the sales funnel and convince them to book a demo. So think about this in the context of either your business or your client's business, and how can you anticipate what it is that the audience wants, build those keywords into the content campaign, and bring them through the sales funnel. And I think that this is a really powerful thing to think about. And so we're going to have our first poll. And so, McKay, I'm going to ask you to activate the poll. And so the first poll that we want you to respond to is, do you use a content campaign approach to your digital marketing strategies? And it's just a simple yes or no. And so if you could just take some time and answer that question, that would be great. And we'll just let that run for a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds.
Yeah, it looks like about 50% of people have voted. Let's let that get up a little higher, and then we'll close the poll.
Great.
So we're up to about 70% of the people that have voted. Should we let it go for another 10 seconds or so, Krista? Does that work?
Yep, another 10 seconds. Just a quick yes or no.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, everybody, here's your last chance. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we got up to 75%. That poll is closed.
Maybe it was a difficult question.
Oh no, that's good. And so what we'll do, we'll share those results at the end. Is that what you want to do, Krista?
Yeah, I think so. We'll share them all at the very end. There's 3 of them, so yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. Well, thanks for responding to that. Just jumping into the second agenda item, and really the impact of content on SEO. And I think a lot of folks are familiar with this, but really, you know, you shouldn't really be doing SEO these days without content, right?
And Krista, we can't. We're just seeing the deck. We're not seeing the full screen slides right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How about now?
No, still not.
I see the full presentation.
Let me see what's happening. Yeah, we're seeing just the slides on the left-hand side, just the normal view within PowerPoint.
Okay. I wonder if I am still in the PowerPoint or in the webinar.
You are, because I can see your screen, but we're only seeing just the slides on the left-hand side and then the main slide. Let me...
So you don't see me advancing my slides?
No, not at all. No, we do not.
Show my main screen.
Well, why don't we do this? In the meantime, while you figure that out, let's do this. Let's share the poll results. Should we do that? Just
Yep.
just maybe we give us. Oh, there we go. I just saw it. Whatever you just did changed something. I just saw him for a second, and then it went back. There you go.
We there?
There you go. Yep. Now that's
working.
working.
You see it advanced now?
Uh-huh.
Okay, perfect. I didn't do anything.
That's weird. Yeah, we're good now.
Okay, sorry about that, everybody. You know, you hear that SEO is dead, and it really isn't. The need to be discovered in search engines is never going to go away. And so this is a study put out by SEMPO, and SEMPO went and asked the question to a whole boatload of marketers in the U.S. and across their membership: to what degree are search engine optimization efforts integrated with the following digital marketing disciplines? And I'll just draw your attention to the very first pillar there, which is content marketing. So not only were they able to conclude that SEO is integrated with everything, it's most effectively integrated with content marketing. So this is not stuff that Krista makes up. And then I love this, the most significant missed opportunity in SEO, and this word cloud came back based on everybody's response, and it's like the number one thing is content and the number two thing is keywords. And I actually think that this should be reversed. I think that the biggest missed opportunity is now the focus on keywords in the content. But that's just my opinion. And so we have this model at gShift that's used throughout the industry called the hierarchy of web presence optimization. And it really plays into two of the opportunities that you just saw, which are keywords and content. And so, you know, over on the right-hand side, this is my opinion about the amount of investment in time and resources that you ought to spend doing keyword research and doing technical SEO and doing social fundamentals and doing content. But one of the biggest missed opportunities that I believe exist in not just SEO but in owned and earned digital marketing is the distribution of the content, getting that content in your campaign out into the social world and in the search engines, off your site, so published in other places. So we ought to be spending more time distributing our content, and when we do that, we will have more engagement and more successful content campaigns and more eyeballs and hopefully a new audience type. And so, you know, we talk about keywords and content. Then the big question is, okay, Krista, well, what keywords should I be focusing on? How many should I be focusing on, and what content? And it really comes down to keyword research, and you need great data sources to do that. But you really should focus on a manageable number of keywords. Like when we did our SEO reporting campaign, we only focused on, you know, probably about 15 keywords. We didn't go and track and try to optimize for hundreds and hundreds of keywords. And try to find keywords and content for which your site or your content already has some authority and some momentum, so either on page 1 or page 2 of Google, and you think that by creating more relevant content and connecting that content together that you can indeed convince Google that it is a relevant content campaign. And look for relatively high search volume and you know, a medium sort of competitiveness on the term, and then identify multiple pieces of content to cross-link. And when we think about a campaign and all of those pieces of content, everything must connect to everything else. Okay, everything must be cross-linked. And so here's some examples of data that we used. And so we call these clusters, and this is our SEO reporting cluster, and here's a bunch of keywords that belong to that cluster. So these are all keywords that our users identify with, that we know we have momentum around, but we just want to enhance that momentum. And there's some other metrics such as search volume and search results. And then we can get a sense over on the right-hand side what content is actually being discovered and being engaged with already, and then build on that. So again, the data is really, really important. And so when we talk about the distribution of content and the social channels, you know, we need to identify, and this is not news, but I think, again, we need to spend more time doing it, really identifying the appropriate channels. We don't need to use all of them for every piece of content or for every business. You know, some might not be relevant to a certain business compared to others. And so identify the appropriate social channels and track the signals and traffic and or conversions from those. And as well, making sure you distribute your content multiple times. It doesn't have to be, I'm not saying like go and do the same Facebook post over and over again, but you know, different tweets that come at the content with different angles and links to other pieces of content. And don't forget email, right? Email is still a really important channel, and cross-link your channels, right? So an email blast ought to reference the social channels, and when you, even simple things such as, when you have a sign-up form for a webinar, make sure you have your social icons on the confirmation page, or when you ask somebody to download a guide, making sure that they can tweet out that they just downloaded the guide, and that goes out to their social channel, and they may attract attention, and you may gain some more audience. So just making sure everything is absolutely cross-linked. And that brings us to the tracking part, right? And so, you've managed to create this wonderful content campaign, and it's all optimized. So how do you track it? So we call this content performance reporting. So really, what is the performance of my content across the channels, and how does it compare to another campaign that I may have conducted, right? And so we want to as well understand the different events. And so let me just forward here to an actual view. And so within gShift, we have this content performance module. And this is another campaign that we ran called the Google Mobile SEO campaign, and produced all sorts of content on Google Mobile SEO and the algorithm that they did around their mobile algorithm update. And we started to track, and you can start to see the events and the impact that certain pieces of content have on engagement, right? And so you see over on the left, we did an email blast about a survey, and then we did a benchmark report. So you can start to pinpoint the different events on the activity graph and understand, exactly what point in time and which piece of content produced some engagement metrics for that. And that's really important. Being able to do this on a daily basis too, right? And so then at a really granular level, and so here's the collection of content. So here's multiple pieces of content that have all been produced and optimized for that cluster of keywords that we were optimizing for. And I can see, let me grab some arrows here. Here's the content. I can see the entrances, the page views, the conversions, the social signals, the backlinks, all from the different sources, and we can even drill down into these. And then I can see at an aggregate level, right? And so it's like maybe one piece of content wasn't performing, but aggregately, this content campaign produced more engagement signals than the content campaign we ran last month. And so to be able to see that on an aggregate level, I think is really, really important. And then to be able to drill down and understand which social channels are actually driving more social engagement than another, right? And so it could very well be that, for us, LinkedIn is the social channel that works best for us, hands down. The other ones really don't even compare. So that's just the type of business that we run. So being able to understand that and make decisions based on that, you may want to figure out why Twitter isn't so great, or else enhance and distribute more content into LinkedIn. So you can look at it in a couple of different ways. And then the keywords, because this is all keyword driven, right, and keywords are the starting point to all this, you can start to understand as well what the impact of the keyword rankings are on each piece of content. And so for this piece of content, we discovered that suddenly 8 keywords are now being discovered in Google, and I can drill down and I can actually see which keywords are now performing and start to understand details around them, in which maybe I want to pick one and do some more optimizing for it. And you'll see as well that we need to consider in our content marketing the concept of mobile content marketing and the discoverability of our content on mobile devices. So you'll see under search engines, the little one at the top, oh, that's local. Actually, right here I'm pointing Google Canada Mobile. We can understand the discoverability of a piece of content for a keyword on a mobile device compared to a desktop. And that's really powerful information, because you may find that none of your content is discoverable on a mobile device, and that's a really big problem. And so this leads to our poll question number 2, which is, which metrics do you use to report on content engagement? And there's 5 choices, and you can check all that apply: traffic and conversions, time on content, social signals, inbound sales calls, or I currently don't use any metrics to report on content engagement. So we'll hand that over to McKay.
Perfect. Let me launch this and get everybody's feedback. All right, poll is launched now. All right, we've got the votes coming in. About 30% of the people, 40% have voted. We'll let that get up to 75% or so.
And so while we're doing that, You have to,
Yeah.
so maybe you can, so I'll let you finish, yep.
No, go ahead. Sorry, Krista, go ahead.
So what we'll be doing, what Convirza and gShift will be doing is creating a content campaign based on this content, and the poll results will be part of that. Because we know for both Convirza and gShift, the topic of tracking your content marketing engagement is important to our audience. So you're actually part of a content campaign right now. And that's a good thing. Because
that is a good thing. That's a very good thing. It allows you to get more out of the content as well as an audience, right? I mean, that's the whole goal. All right, let's close the poll. Poll is closed. And we're back on your slides. Perfect.
All right. Perfect. And so just moving into the final agenda item, which is understanding and tracking offline engagement metrics, right? And so the online stuff is sort of easier than the offline stuff, but you can bring the two together. And so the real challenge is, and gShift lives this too, and I call this the on-site, off-site, online to offline challenge. And I think every organization has it. You have on-site and off-site content, and then you have online metrics. You have online conversion points, but you also have offline conversion points too. And picking up the telephone and making a telephone call is an offline conversion point. And so you may have made the perfect content campaign, everything's being discovered, you're moving that prospect through the sales funnel, and then they decide to pick up the telephone call, and that's their conversion point. And so how do you track that? And of course it's with our friends here, Convirza, and gShift actually has a product roadmap integration plan with Convirza to bring these engagement metrics into gShift's content performance report so that you can get a sense of all of that in one place. And so this is an actual content campaign that we ran for a national brand. It would be a brand that everybody on the phone recognizes. And it's a content campaign, and each campaign is optimized for a different city. And so of course, they're using Convirza, and the client can either convert on the web page through a form, or they can pick up the phone and call. And so we use Convirza to understand where that call conversion is actually happening. And so really important stuff and really powerful data that can help you get smarter. And again, I'm all about using the data to make better decisions, to drive your campaigns and continuing to optimize them. And that's how you really increase engagement and really get smart with your owned and earned digital strategies. And so our final poll question is pretty straightforward, is do you currently connect offline engagement with online engagement? So we'll hand that over to McKay.
All right, this has been launched. You're seeing it on your screen now. We're getting votes coming in. We're at about 50% of the folks have voted. And this one's a pretty simple. And to piggyback off what you were talking about, Krista, the interesting thing that we're seeing is with the shift as well to mobile and mobile search, the number of calls that are going to and are coming from regular content campaigns is increasing, right? Someone reads an article, they don't want to fill out a form, they want to pick up the phone, and it's so easy to do that, just tapping your little thumb on the smartphone screen there. So that world is getting bigger, not smaller, in terms of generating phone calls. Okay, let's close that poll. And we're back to your slides.
Great. All right, and so just a summary, then we'll publish the polls and take some questions. And so when you think about all this, and this can all be pretty complicated stuff, and so I like to think about, well, what really is this all about, this owned and earned digital marketing, SEO, content, social, call tracking. And I've come up with this definition, and some of you may have seen it. It's really about the long-term process of enhancing both the brand's web presence asset and the opportunity for discoverability in search and social throughout the prospect's buying cycle and across any device. And McKay's comments, rings true, no pun intended, that there's more devices out there and they have easier access to just clicking to call. And so we really need to think about that conversion point. And just finally, key takeaways to summarize, and then we'll produce the polls. Content campaigns and tracking engagement, really understand the opportunities to optimize through the data. How can I get more eyeballs to my site based on what's already working, and how do I optimize that? Think through the intent of your content campaign. What is it that I want the visitor to do? invest more time distributing your content. I think that's a big, big win for everyone. And track the entire campaign and seek to understand engagement on a daily basis. What's working, what's not working, how do I tweak? Compare metrics and time periods to identify trends, and test, measure, optimize, measure, repeat. I can't say enough about that. And so let's do the poll results as well. I think we can start to take some questions too. And so if you have some questions, if you want to just type them into the question box, that would be great.
Great. So let me throw up the poll results. First one. So this was the do you use a content campaign approach to your digital marketing? What do you make of those results, Krista? What does that tell you?
I'm impressed. I am very impressed. So I thought the number would be a lot lower for the yes. So that's really great. Congratulations. And I hope that the folks who said no will start to, because I think it's a good way to win bigger.
All right. Now let's go to the second question, which is which metrics do you use to report on content engagement? Let those soak in for a second, everyone, and then I'd like your feedback on those, Krista. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, I think that there's lots of opportunity to do more inbound sale call tracking.
Yes, I agree.
And you know what, I look at gShift digital strategy and how we do it, and we need to do more of it. We just need to think about it more.
Right, it's sort of an afterthought, has been anyway, and you know, it's takes some time to change those habits, I think. Okay, let's go to the third one, which was do you currently connect offline engagement with online engagement? And a very, very, very split there, which is interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Well, thanks for participating in those polls, everyone, and I think we can handle some questions now if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, we've got a lot of questions, so let's jump into those. All right. Let's start here. Okay. Now, you used a Forrester statistic about SEO, I think, in your presentation, Krista. Does that ring a bell?
That's right. Yep.
So Richard asked just about that piece of data. He said, is that based on revenue generated from SEO marketing or SEO investment? In other words, does that include in-house costs or just agency fees that companies are spending on SEO?
The $4 billion by 2019, that is a combination of, so first of all, it's actually a small sample size, and I wish I had the number offhand. I can get it to you. If you send me an email, I can send it to you. It's U.S. data only, which I think is, you know, U.S. is a big market, but it's not the whole world. So it's U.S. only, and it consists of technology and services, and it's in-house and agency, but it's a small sample.
Great.
That helps.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, this is a question that I get a lot, actually, people asking me, and it's something I've wrestled with. In terms of content creation, how much is too much? What rules do you use around, or even best practices around creation of content? And that's a whole nother webinar, frankly. But just give us some top-level stuff if you can, Krista, and I'll throw my 2 cents in once you're done.
Yeah. So how much is too much? How much is enough? I don't have the answer to that. I can tell you what we recommend, what our marketing team does, as well as what we recommend. It really comes down to put yourself in your client's shoes. What is it that they want? How much do they need to be convinced to go through that funnel, right? And so a typical content campaign here at gShift typically consists of about 10 to 15 pieces of content, all linked together, all about the same topic. You know, compare that to, you know, a B2C or a smaller business. Probably you don't need that much. So my recommendation is don't overdo it. I mean, don't create content if you don't have to create content. We all have other things to do in our lives. But think about how much and the type of content and where that prospect is going to be interacting with you. So, you know, think about video versus audio versus text, and how they want to, the type of content they want to engage with, I think is a better way to look at it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's less about quantity and more about quality and making sure it matches what your audience is looking for. The only area where I would say it's about quantity is in regards to a blog. I've talked about this at length and written about it. Especially when you're starting a blog, or if your blog doesn't have much of a presence or much traffic, writing a lot is necessary, because if you just write once every week or 2 weeks, you're just not going to see any movement in terms of organic search and long-tail keyword results specifically, and certainly not with leads, right? But if you write consistently and a lot, so we've experienced this, we've had clients experience this, and we have partners that experience this. Some that are agencies with their clients that say, you know what, we started writing 3 times a day for 100 days or for 50 days, and suddenly our organic traffic increased. And we had that experience as well. We started to do that, and our organic traffic increased by 3,500% to the blog. So I think in certain aspects, probably only the blog does just raw quantity. Now, it has to still be good. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying, everyone. But quantity matters in those areas where you're really trying to gain prime the pump is what I call it. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Krista?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And you're right. It's quality and quantity, and it's essentially, you have to train Google. You have to convince Google. And yes, I know there are other search engines out there, but you have to convince them that you're serious and you're committed to the content. And perhaps there was some inflection point there for you guys where Google just said, okay, these guys are for real and they're relevant. And that helped with the whatever that giant percentage was that you said increase in organic traffic.
Right. Yep. There was definitely an inflection point about 5 weeks into doing that. Okay. Let's keep going here. All right. So Matt asked a question. He says, follow up on content creation. Any tips for boring industries? Things like junk collection or home services in terms of content production. Any tips you have for those folks, Krista?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. I don't think that's a boring industry. I think that's quite interesting. I mean, you could do lots of interesting creative videos about people's weird junk, right? You have to get creative. The blender guy who blends, chainsaws and stuff like this, I think it's about creativity to stand out. And yeah, I don't think that junk is that uninteresting.
I agree. I think that if you think an industry is boring, you're not learning. You don't know what's interesting about your industry, I guess, is because, for example, if I saw an infographic, I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, right? If I saw an infographic that talked about the amount of junk people have in their homes based off 50 homes that you've helped clear, I'd read that because it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Okay. We need to write that now.
Yeah, exactly. And so same thing with, I'm sure there's all sorts of data around how many pounds or however you measure junk collection from certain properties, or the top 10 weirdest pieces of junk you've removed. I'm sure the junk collection folks could tell some stories of stuff they have taken from houses. I would very much like to hear those stories, and I would click on an article about those stories. So there is no such thing as a boring industry. I just don't believe that. I think that every industry is interesting. You just have to find the interesting elements of it. So yeah. All right. Let's see here. Okay, talk about the impact of content on SEO. We've got several people asking variations of that question. Just talk about the impact that has on SEO from what you've seen and from the data you've pulled. Is it predominantly a long tail play? Do you go after your main keywords with the content? What's your approach? Just give us some general thoughts on content and SEO, Krista.
Yeah, that's a really broad question. So the impact of content on SEO. So obviously you can't do SEO without content, but it comes back to that final definition that I gave, that summary, the long-term process of enhancing the brand's discoverability in search and social. And so if you come at it like that, it's like, well, how can I intercept my prospect's buying cycle with content? What is it that they are searching on? What is it that they're talking about in the social channels? And we have some unique data in our system to show you can track a keyword in Twitter to understand conversations, and then to create content to then publish out to the channel to become part of that conversation. And by doing that, you're being discovered. And so don't think of it so much as in, hey, I want to get ranked #1 for this keyword. It's that I want to enhance the opportunity to be discovered for that keyword and a cluster of keywords that are similar to insert myself into the conversation that my customers are having when they want to have it. And so, keywords to content distribution is something that we really preach. And you would be surprised at, we're always trying to fill the top of the funnel. And now I'm talking about, the challenges we have here at gShift too. And it's amazing when we try to track back, well, where did that lead or new contact or new audience, where did it originate? And we're always pretty shocked at where it actually originated. It could be, somebody from Twitter. We started to follow somebody in Twitter, or they heard about us and then they Googled us. So really the answer is think about it as a whole. Think about it as that long-term process where you're simply distributing really great content out into the search engines and into social to enhance that discoverability. I hope that helps, as opposed to, I want to get ranked #1 for this keyword, so I'm going to write a blog about it. It's not about that.
That's great. Great advice. Well, Krista, thank you so much for taking the time. We really, really appreciate it. There were some great nuggets in your presentation, and I hope people learned a lot from it, and I think they did. Everybody, just a reminder that you'll receive the recording of this presentation as well as the actual slides from this presentation in an email tomorrow. We encourage you to go to Convirza.com, click on resources. You'll see webinars. You can see recordings for past webinars as well as registering for future webinars as well there. So please take the time to do that. Krista, any final words of wisdom from you before we conclude?
Words of wisdom. Think thoughtfully and strategically about content campaigns, and you will see an impact in the discoverability of your brand online. Guaranteed. That's a guarantee.
Awesome. Krista, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And have a wonderful day up there in Toronto.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.